So, good morning everyone. I am offering this course on strategic performance, and I hope that this course is going to help you to manage your performance effectively. When I am going to talk about this course on performance management, the basic idea is that as an individual you are able to manage your performance not only as an individual, but you can also help to see that how your group or team is able to manage performance, and it is going to contribute to organizational performance. So, that organization is able to achieve its goals and objectives. Now, coming to this course on performance management, one thing that I would like to tell you is that this course is meant for master students of business administration and those industry professionals who would be interested to see that how they are going to manage their performance in organizations. This course has been designed with the intent to ensure that people from the industry as well as those who are doing their masters are going to benefit from this course. The idea is that how we are going to look into various nuances, issues related to performance and how we are going to manage it well. So, with this we are going to start the first lecture, and here I am going to talk about how to start thinking about performance, right. So, in the first lecture probably we will discuss about understanding certain issues, meanings and definitions related to performance and performance management. Now, if you look at this figure, what does this show? Okay. Now, if you look at this figure, you can see that the arrows are going up, down, okay, then again going down and then going up. And now, if you look at this figure, it shows that how the performance has to go up. I mean, how they are going to see that they are able to maintain a better performance. Now, what does this arrow suggest? It shows that the performance was good, then again people have been trying to manage their performance, holding it back, then again trying to climb up, then again it goes down and then again it goes up. This shows that it is very important to manage your performance as an individual, as a team, as well as an organization. So, this can be applied to all the context, whether it is individual, whether it is team or units or departments, or whether it is an organization. Now, it is very important to understand that why we need to manage our performance, but before we discuss more on performance management, we have to look at how we are going to define performance as such. Now, if you look at this, what does it mean to say that yes, perform? When I say that okay, I am going to perform certain things, it means that you are trying to do something meeting certain standards, so that you are going to succeed, achieve a goal in your personal or professional life. See, most of us are going to do certain things with an objective. It is not that we are going to engage in any kind of activities without any goal or without any objective. So, it is very important to decide what is our goal, our objectives which we need to achieve, and in order to achieve that goal and objective, whatever activities we are doing would come under this what we call performance, right. So, when we say to perform within quote, it means that we are going to engage with certain activities, right, and these activities must meet certain goals or standards for which we are striving, okay, with the objective that we are going to be successful, we are going to be effective, we are going to excel in our efforts, right. That is related to individual performance. Now, let me give an example. Suppose as a student you want to perform well in a program or in a particular course. So, when you say that as a student you want to perform well, so you must have set up certain standards, say that you, the kind of grade or the kind of percentage that you want to achieve, because the grade and percentage which is going to act as a standard is going to decide whether you have been able to reach to that goal or not. So, you must decide a goal or a standards against which you are going to compare your performance later on, right. So, suppose you have decided that okay, I want to achieve at least 75% marks in this course. So, this is going to act as a standard, or you want to achieve a CGPA of 8. So, that is going to act as a standard. Now, we need to decide about this because that help us or motivates us to perform better, right. And in order to achieve these goals and objectives, what we do? We try to see that how we can achieve it. So, we engage in certain activities. Okay. We study hard, we try to do everything that is possible to ensure that we are able to achieve this performance level, right. So, that is related to individuals, right. Now, when we come to business, what does it mean? Because when you are going to perform a job in an organizational context, it means that you are going to do whatever is given in terms of job responsibilities to ensure that you perform efficiently, right, and you are able to be productive. When we say that you are going to be productive, it means that your output input ratio is either meeting the standards of performance or it is exceeding those output input ratio which you have set for yourself. So, in case of business, performance means, or when you are going to do certain things, it means that whatever you are doing, whatever is being given to you as a part of your job, okay, which is mentioned in your description in terms of your duties and responsibilities, you are going to perform them well, right. Now, in corporate context, what happens? We are talking about individual and how they are going to perform well in the context of organization. Now, how we are going to measure your performance in organizational context? We are going to see that you are able to reach to certain targets in terms of number of units produced, number of targets sales that you have, or depending upon the requirements of the job, whatever standards have been set, you are able to achieve that. Moving to performance at the macro level, but when you talk about the organization, when we talk about organizational performance, it is measured in terms of market, profits, shares, growth, development. So, there could be a number of measures that could be used to measure performance at the organizational level. Now, when we are talking about performance at the organizational level, it is possible only when everyone in the organization performs well. Not only the people, but you have a good and effective systems, your machines are working, your departments are effective, right. So, everyone is going to perform well, only then you can think about an effective corporate performance, right. So, when we are talking about corporate performance, it is the sum total of the individual performance moving to the group or team performance, moving further up to what you call the department performance, and then you sum up the department performance, because all departments are going to contribute to organizational performance. Now, another issue that is related to performance is that how we are going to define performance. Okay. So, one thing that I would like to say here is that when we talk about performance, okay, it is a function of what? A number of factors, okay, and this could be applicable to all contexts, whether we are talking about individual, whether we are talking about group, or whether we are talking about organizations. So, when we say that we need to understand performance as a function of these factors, so we can write this equation something like this. Performance is a function of ability into effort, into motivation, into organizational support. Now, when we are talking about this factor and we say that performance is a function of ability, effort, motivation and organizational support, it means that each of these factors are going to contribute to your performance either as an individual or a group or department, or unit, or what you call as a organization. Okay. The same formula can be applied to all kind of contexts. For example, when we say ability, it is the ability of the individual which is going to see or determine your performance. Similarly, it is the ability of the team or ability of the organization or the competence of the organization. Okay. Now, another issue is related to effort, how much effort is made by individual to complete his job, right. So, effort is another important issue, what kind of effort is made by the organization or the individual or the group. Similarly, the motivation basically applies to individual and group, but it also applies to organization. So, when we say individual, people really motivated to perform well, okay. They are really interested, have commitment, are really engaged in what they are supposed to do. Okay. So, if that happens, it means that people are motivated, and if it is not, then we cannot say that people are motivated to perform well. Okay. So, ability, effort and motivation combines together, and with the help of support from the organization, because in order to perform your job well, you also need help from machines, equipments, your managers, commitment and support from line managers, in terms of resources and infrastructure. You also need support of the top management, because they are going to provide these resources to you and your department. So, this support is very important. It also includes the kind of culture that you have in organization. So, all these factors contribute to your performance. So, when we are talking about organizational performance, it is nothing else but a function of ability, effort, motivation and organizational support. Now, when we are talking about this, we are moving to another important factor, that is, it is very important to see that yes, when we say that it is a function of ability, effort, motivation and all kind of things, we need to ensure that all these components are present for effective performance, right. Now, we will look into some other issues to understand performance in a different context. So, when we are looking into these issues, we want to see that how we are going to improve our performance, and then we are going to see that we are able to improve our performance very well. Now, we need to understand this performance further. As I said that this term is used and has a number of dimensions. Now, the first thing that we are going to talk about is that how we are going to measure performance. As I told you that we are going to measure performance at different levels. It could be at the individual level, where you are going to see that what is your standard, how we are going to measure it. We are also looking at performance at the group level, okay, or the individual performance to personal performance to impersonal performance when you are going to work as a team, because there the individual performance does not matter. We are going to talk about the individual performance, or we are also going to talk about some specific performance where you are going to set a criteria standard. For example, say suppose you want to say that you want to produce x number of units in a given time frame. So, that is an example of a specific performance. A vague performance where you are not clear what is that you want to achieve in a given time frame, right. So, there could be different levels of performance from individual to group, from individual to team, or specific to vague performance, right. Now, we also examine that whether the performance level that has been achieved is good or bad in terms of its quality, right. So, when we are going to realize this in terms of achievement of performance, we give examples like good performance or bad performance. Suppose we are not able to achieve the goals and standards, we say that the performance is not good. Okay. If we are able to achieve good performance or meet the target, or our performance is efficient, then we say that yes, it is a good performance. Or suppose we want to improve our performance, it means that we have reached to a certain level of performance, and then we want to see that how we can move up the performance ladder. So, that is what we call improved performance. It means that my performance compared to my earlier performance has improved or changed, okay. And this means that now my performance rating is better than the last performance, okay, in the time frame. Now, another important issue is related to the context in which you are going to perform, okay. Whether you are talking about performance in the contemporary form, that is what we know as contemporary performance. Contemporary means that performance is today's context, today's environment, or we are going to talk about into future, okay. Similarly, we are talking about performance or non-performance, okay, whether you are performing at all or you are not going to perform at all, okay. So, there could be different actually facets of performance, like whether you are going to measure individual to group performance, there are different relations from good to bad performance, different context, whether today's performance or tomorrow's performance, okay. Similarly, If you try to measure the performance, it includes both economic criteria as well as behavioral criteria. Like for example, if you are able to produce n number of units, okay, or you are going to sell n number of units. So, you are generating certain revenue, that is related to your economic performance. Your behavioral performance, suppose you have good interpersonal skills, okay, your leadership quality which actually motivates your subordinates to perform well. So, that is a behavioral criteria for measuring performance. So, once we have understood these various facets of the performance, at the next level we are going to see that how we are going to take the performance at the next level. And here what we are going to talk about is that how we are going to move the performance at the next level. And in this case we are going to see that this performance is going to be improved in a different ways. So, when we are going to move this performance to the next level, we are going to see that what are the various dimensions that we are going to use for measuring performance. Okay. So, here we are going to talk about certain things related to the dimensions of performance. So, we have looked into the various facets of the performance. Now, what we are going to see that how we are going to define the performance of an individual, right. Now, the performance is defined as the output that is delivered by an individual, a group or department of an organization in relation to a given role. Now, if you look at this definition of the performance, it says that it is the output which is produced by an individual, a group or an organization, and this output is based upon the activity that is carried out by the individual, group or the department. And this also has a time frame, because you cannot carry on doing the same thing time and again, because the time factor is very important. So, we have to perform within a given time frame. Okay. So, suppose you are supposed to produce n number of units. So, this n number of units has to be produced in a given time frame, say 1 hour, 8 hours, 10 hours, because your performance would accordingly be measured. And another important factor is the set of circumstances, the context or the environment in which you are going to perform. Okay. And all this is going to affect your performance, and then this performance is going to be measured using a set standard, and then also have a criteria, and this criteria is going to be for the individual, group as well as department. So, that your performance is going to be measured, right. And the idea is that your performance is going to contribute to goals and objectives of the organization. So, it has to be seen that how your individual performance is going to contribute to your group or the department performance. Similarly, you also need to see that how your department performance is going to contribute to the organizational performance, and it has a time frame, not only a time frame, but it also talks about the context in which you are going to perform, and then you are going to measure your performance using set standards, that is the criteria against which your performance is going to be evaluated, and you also need to ensure that how it is going to help the organization to achieve the goals and objectives of the organization. Now, moving further, the thing is that why we are going to measure performance. Okay. Now, when we are talking about measuring performance, especially for business organizations, because business organizations are supposed to be profit based organizations, right. Because we need to ensure by measuring the performance whether the organization is growing or not, okay, whether it is making profit or not, whether it is generating revenue or not, and that is true for everyone, right. So, the objective is to see that whether our performance as an individual organization is going up or not, okay. Because if we are going to perform well, it is going to contribute to organizational performance, and if organization is going to contribute well, it is going to create value for all the stakeholders in the organization, and these stakeholders include employees, customers, suppliers, everyone. which would create a value for the firm. So, basically performance create lot of value to the organization, right, and it is also going to be rewarding experience for the employees, because if organization is going to perform well, the individual would be rewarded accordingly, okay, and then they would contribute to increase the value of the firm, right. Now, the issue is that how would a firm measure an individual contribution to value creation and what kind of purpose it serves. So, the idea here is that you need to see that as an individual what is your contribution to organizational performance, right, whether you are going to measure it in some way qualitatively or quantitatively, and if individual is contributing to firm performance to create value, it means that you are going to create value, so that it is going to increase the make certain changes in the wealth of the stakeholders, including employees and customers and everyone. Okay. And how do you know that the performance has improved unless you are going to measure it. So, it is that, and that is why it is very important that organizations are going to measure the performance of the individual to find out the extent to which they have contributed to value creation of the firm, and that is one of the factors you can say for this kind of things. Now, another issue is that why we are going to manage performance. Now, based on these discussions, as you have seen, we have found out that yes, it is very important to manage performance. Now, if you look at the statement, it says that yes, if you are not able to manage performance, then it is very difficult to achieve goals and objectives of the organization. Okay. You cannot encourage and reward behavior, because if the performance is not good, then it is very difficult to reward those employees, because performance is linked with the reward, and you also need to ensure that the individual behavior is aligned and contributes to the goals and objectives of the organization. Okay. So, the idea is that when you are going to manage the performance of the individual, you need to motivate them, okay, you are going to reward them, so that they do certain things or perform in such a way, so that it contributes to organizational performance. Similarly, you also need to ensure when it comes to managing performance that you are not going to do certain things which could be termed as unproductive, because if you are going to engage in unproductive activities, then it does not contribute to your performance, either as an individual or a group or a organization. Say for example, as a student, you have to see that how you are going to manage better performance. So, you need to identify what are the activities which contribute to performance and what are those activities which does not contribute to performance. And if you engage yourself in those activities which does not contribute to performance, then those activities could be termed as unproductive. Okay. So, once you understand these issues, so you will be in a position to identify and understand what are those activities which are unproductive, and you make an effort to reduce those activities. Now, if you look at these two figures, it suggests that yes, why performance management is important, because if you are able to manage your performance well, what happens? You are able to improve your performance to certain level, right. And most of the studies have also found that yes, if you think that if you have a good performance management system in place, either as the individual or an organization, it would lead to better organizational performance. Okay. And with this, we need to ensure that yes, and that is why organizations are moving to organizational performance and these kind of activities. Now, moving further, if you look at, we talked about this value concept, it means that performance creates value, right. So, when we are talking about performance, it means that we are going to talk about result. It means everybody who is working in organization is supposed to contribute to the performance of the organization. So, we have to see that how we are going to increase the value of the firm, right. For example, if you are a manager, then how do you increase profit? Okay, by increasing the firm's market, by generating more revenues, or by ensuring that the firm grows. Okay. So, the concept of value creation is very important, because everybody in the organization is supposed to create some value, and this value is measured by what? Your performance, because the performance creates value. Okay. So, everybody in the organization is supposed to create value for the organization. Now, coming to performance management, because so far we have talked about what is performance and we discussed about various facets of performance, right. Now, if you look at performance management and if you look at this picture, it talks about lot of things that we have just talked about, right. For example, you have a goal, you have to see that how you are going to measure it, you also need to monitor it, you want to see that that performance is measured in a given time frame, and the idea is to improve the performance, right. So, if you look at the definition of performance management, it says that yes, it is a process through which you are going to identify, measure and develop performance of the individuals and teams both. You also need to ensure that your performance is aligned with the goals and objectives of the organization, right. So, there are three things that is very important. You need to identify what is your performance goals, you also need to see that how are you going to measure it, and you also need to improve your performance, so that your performance contribute in a better way to the goals and objectives of the organization. But how it is possible unless you assess the performance? Assess the performance of whom? Of the individual, the processes that the organization has, right, and also the organization using a predetermined goal, that is the set standards which you have already set, against which your performance is going to be measured, right. So, what is to be done when you are going to measure performance is that you are going to assess the performance of the people or the teams to see that how well they have contributed against the set criteria or the standard which is decided in the advance. Now, if you look at this definition, it talks about two things. One, that yes, it is an ongoing process, it is a continuous process. What I mean by continuous process, that it is not that once you have managed and reached effective performance level, you are going to stop. Okay. Then the next performance cycle starts. Suppose I have achieved certain targets, is it over? No. Then again for the next year we are going to have some other performance criteria, and then again we engage in certain activities to meet it. So, the idea is that it is a continuous process where you are going to be involved in a never ending process of setting goals and objectives, looking at your performance and see that what kind of feedback you are receiving, in order to see that yes, you are able to achieve performance. So, it is a continuous process. Similarly, another thing that we have been talking about, the aligning with the strategic goals. Okay. Now, if you look at this figure, it would be clear to you that how you need to ensure that your activities and outputs are congruent with the goals and objectives of the organization. What I mean to say here is that you look at this lower level, you have individual level goals, then the next level you have the group levels or the departments level or the program level, and then finally, at the organization level. Now, the idea is that the individual goals contribute further to the department or the group, and then it further contributes to organizational goals, and all of them are aligned, means that yes, you need to ensure that you are going to contribute to ultimately the goals and objectives of the organization. Moving further, you can see that we have been talking about the performance management, and there is another concept that is performance appraisal. So, we need to differentiate between performance management and performance appraisal. If you look at performance management, it is done with certain strategic business considerations. Why I am calling it a strategic business considerations? That is that you need to ensure that organization is ultimately able to create wealth for its stakeholders, and this wealth creation process happens only if you are able to better manage performance at different levels, right. That is the basic objective of performance management system, and then you also give regular continuous feedback that how the system, the process, the group or the individual are doing. Okay. So, it is a continuous feedback system we have, which helps you to identify and find out where you are and what you need to do in order to achieve the goals, right, and that also helps you to improve your performance. And this performance management is driven by the line managers, because they are concerned about the performance at different levels. So, performance management is something that is a more holistic compared to performance appraisal, because performance appraisal is just a subsystem or a component of what you call performance management. In case of performance management, what you do, you are going to look at employee's past performance, you are able to identify how well he has done, what are his strengths and weaknesses, and that is done periodically, maybe in a 6 month or in a year, right. But it does not give you continuous feedback. At the end of the performance cycle, you tell him that okay, this is what your performance is, and this performance appraisal, the responsibility is with whom? With the line managers, and that is how we try to differentiate between what you call performance management and performance system, performance appraisal. Moving to the next part, we will talk about that at a later stage.